Finally, time to drive the 3rd generation Nissan Leaf. In 15 years, it has evolved into quite a beautiful little crossover hatchback sort of vehicle. It's a little bit shorter than before, but we have, for $30,000, you can get 300 miles of range that has never been seen before on the new market here in the United States. What does this vehicle drive like? Well, we'll tell you after we give you a quick walk around, so let's get into it. First thing we're gonna do is look under the hood. You know, this is a front wheel drive only EV, and dual motor all wheel drive, maybe not on the slate yet. I was joking with Nissan here. I'm like, hey, you know, I'm ready for next year, the Nismo version of this car, dual motor all wheel drive, 400 horsepower. Of course, that's not here. We have a 214 horsepower setup here. It has around 260 pound-feet of torque. Front wheel drive, of course. Efficiency, we were seeing about 3 miles per kilowatt hour on the interstate, going about 70, 75 miles an hour. You can see how everything is just crammed inside of here. It's a really short overhang, and Nissan's been able to do that because they took the charger out of the front area and they put the charging areas on the side. All right, so we have a 75 kilowatt hour battery on these Plus trims. This is a Platinum Plus. The Platinum Plus has like the sunroof, we'll go over all that. This is the range topper, coming around $40,000 after destination, somewhere around there, okay? There is a smaller battery pack that is not available at launch quite yet. It is coming. That's around 52 kilowatt hours of capacity, and that will be like $26,000, so even cheaper if you don't need all the range or the features coming down the hatch. All right, and as we look underneath the hood here, we just have a prop stick, not that luxurious, but even though it doesn't have an internal combustion engine, look at this little pad they put in here to reduce noise. So it's a little attentions to detail like that I think is gonna make this Leaf punch above its weight class. A very light aluminum hood here. Closing it down, let's go ahead and I guess we'll talk about the charging and then we'll get into the exterior design. All right. Notice these little lines here. You get the 2 and the 3. All right, 2 is the Ni and 3 is San. All right, that's also, if you look at 23, that's one of their famous racing numbers for Nissan. So on this side is your DC fast charge, and yes, it is NACS. It charges around 150 kilowatts, if I remember correctly. Is that right, Ben?
Yeah,
cool.
Right.
All right, so DC, you can plug and charge too. I don't know if you can plug and charge at Tesla charging stations, but I know for example, there's a Nissan with their app. You can do it with a bunch of other competitors. We made it out to Julian. The pie company's right in the background, but we're not getting pie. We're actually at a Tesla supercharger here that we just stumbled across. And we're like, hey, well, let's see if this works. So Ben whipped out the Tesla app and it just started charging. Yes. Simple as that. Like, rates are expensive out here, like 60 plus cents per kilowatt hour.
So it actually shows our percentage of the car,
yep,
our fees, what we're charging at, and energy delivered. So this actually a nice integration on the Tesla app, yep, for a third-party car.
Yep. I just charged an Ioniq 9. It was the exact same integration too with the NACS and a Tesla supercharger. There it is, charging here. Oh, I don't think those are EVs, Ben.
They're not electric.
You can see the cord, this is a Tesla thing, the cords are pretty short. But since I have a 360 camera, when I initially parked, it was parked too short, to be honest. But we moved it forward and the 360 camera is pretty easy to do. You can see it's a pretty low curb here. So, you know, there's good clearance. Let's head on the inside. Let's see what the screen is saying for charging rates. You know, 66. It started charging, what was it, like 90? What was it at earlier? 80? Okay. Yeah. You know, so it's just not going to charge that fast. It's, again, 150 is the max here, but just showing you this is even pre-production model, and using the Tesla app, it took us 20 seconds to get it charging. Pretty cool. You cannot charge AC through NACS. You have to do it on this side, which is a J1772, spring-loaded, of course. All right, also can be had with this scheduler, which I think is cool. All right, but if you want to charge at home, you can't use your NACS unless maybe you have an adapter to 1772, for example. All right, in terms of charging capacity on this side, it's about 7 kilowatts, 7.2, something like that, assuming you can have that sort of capacity at home from your 240 volt. All right, let's look at the front end here. This is, since it's a platinum grade, it has the fanciest front end. We have a light bar here, an illuminated Nissan logo. You see a 360 camera that's actually standard, even on the base $26,000 S model, the smaller battery. It has a 360 camera. That is crazy to have that sort of standard feature. And when you think about it, when you're pulling in the Nissan Leaf to a, let's say, a Tesla supercharger, all right, most of those chargers are going to align to the right-hand side like a Tesla. All right, so Tesla's back end, well, you don't have to back end, you just pull in front. And it's gonna be a lot easier. You have that 360 camera to pull in, and you even have parking sensors here to give you, which something, Teslas don't have that anymore, right? They don't have the proximity.
It's all vision.
It's all vision.
So, yeah, they
so
got rid of the,
now you kind of have a vision, and you have a proximity sensors here, which is kind of nice. All right, we have, of course, triple beam LED headlights, and these daytime running lights here on the side, these are fully LED on this trim, as well as the SV grade. The S grades, I believe it's a little bit, I think the turn indicators aren't fully LED, for example. But on the side we have these 19-inch wheels, and I just realized this kind of has that Nissan 2-3 theme. All right, 2 completely glossy black and then 3 machine finished spokes here. These wheels are radical. Again, these are the standard 19-inch wheels on this Platinum. 18-inch wheels on the SV grade, those are aluminum, and then steely wheels with plastic covers on the S grades. All right, so your smallest wheels you're gonna find on the Nissan Leaf is 18 inches. Still pretty big wheels here. If you're wondering, 235 by 45, this is a much wider tire than something I got out of the Prius last week, which also 19-inch wheels, but skin your tires at like 215 or 195 tires. All right, so much wider tires here will give you guys some pretty nice grip when you throw this in the turns. All right, so let's look at the Leaf from the side. You know, it's kind of evolved from a hatchback into a subcompact crossover, and that's where the market is in America. As much as I love hatchbacks, compact crossover is really more practical design for most people, and it's much more desirable. All right, so this is the Seabreeze, is that what it is? The Seabreeze blue. We love this color. We think it's the best color in the Nissan Leaf line. Yeah, it's like Bahama blue, Florida Keys blue. Yeah, you nailed it. Like, it is gorgeous, and this has the optional two-tone. Okay, there are, if you get the base S grade, for example, you cannot get this color. This is only available on the mid and upper grades here. Totally worth it. And look at the door handles. They suck into the side. All right, and then also the door handles in the back are very much like the Prius I reviewed a couple weeks ago, except these are real door handles. It's not, there's nothing like in the Prius is a button which activates the door. No, this is a real latch, which I much prefer here. Okay, so the vehicle from the side is it's actually a little bit shorter than the old Leaf from front to rear. It looks like it's taller, but it's actually not. It's actually, the roofline's actually shorter than the old Leaf because, well, it doesn't look like it because the front overhangs are so much shorter. So it's a much more modern looking vehicle than the old Leaf. They've decreased the resistance of drag to, I think, 0.26.
From 0.29.
From 0.29. As we come to the back, we have the holographic taillights. The only way you can get these really cool holographic taillights is on this Platinum Plus. You cannot get it on the other grades. This is really high end. I don't know if very many other manufacturers are doing this. It's really cool. And these taillights, again, 2.3 Nissan, but these are styled after the 300ZX, which is also replicated in the current day modern Nissan Z. All right, these parallel lines here. All right, Nissan type down the back, Leaf here. All right, a little reverse light down there at the bottom, parking sensors to back up, 360, or should I say backup camera back here. Now, this car in the Platinum, this is the only way you can get this automatic lift gate. It is standard on this grade. And cargo capacity, I'll put on the screen for you guys. I do have some underfloor storage, and there's another compartment back here. It's really small though. It's probably not worth using. I look under here, and this is where your charger is. So you have, Nissan is including with every Leaf a level 1 and level 2 charger, and this will charge at 7.2 kilowatts, assuming you have the 240 connection for it. There it is. There's the nice little adapter there. You also have vehicle to load, 1500 watts back here, but if you get an adapter, I think you can get all the way up to about, was it 3.7? Somewhere around. Yeah, well, I'll put it on the screen, but like, that's a really impressive, pretty good vehicle to load for a cheap EV to have that sort of capability. I'm quite a big fan. So we're gonna actually get in the back seat, and again, love to have a real door handle here, feels nice. And keep in mind, this seat is set up for Ben at, what are you, 6 foot?
Yeah.
5'12"?
Yeah.
And I'm here at 6'1", and it is a little bit tight, to be honest. We know that this is a subcompact sort of vehicle, but these are a new type of seat. These are called tailor fit, and these sort of seats, or at least the material, is standard even on the base S grade. So you're not gonna have cloth seats to my recollection on this model. Now, I don't have an S to look at or an SV because, well, Nissan just has a Platinum here. But these are definitely going to be the nicest looking seats, I would say. You can also get a black interior on the Platinum. But yeah, this tan or gray with this sea breeze is the way to go. We both are pretty big fans of this cloth material on the back. It's also in the front. All right, hard touch here. And so I'm gonna take this real quick from you, Ben.
Yep.
All right, in the back, we have vents, which is really handy for cooling down the kids back here. Another 1500 watt power accessory. So shoot, if the 2 USB-Cs weren't enough to power your devices, you have 1500 watts at your disposal. Heated outboard seats as well. Might be a bit overkill. Most of the time it would be little kids back here, but it's good to have it. And here is the auto dimming, or it's liquid crystal. Ben's gonna hit that for us. And it has a gradient. It dims in like 4 different spots, and it does it in different lines and slopes, all right, to mimic Japanese skyline art, which is pretty cool. Speaking of skyline, also an iconic Nissan product. All right, this is standard here on the Platinum. It's the only way you can get this car, or sorry, the sunroof is on this model. You can't get it on SV grade. All right, and there is no sunshade. And Nissan said you don't need the sunshade because, well, you get better headroom out of it. It lowers the center of gravity, so they decided not to do the sunshade. But it's pretty fantastic. I can look directly at the sun. Not saying you should do it, but you can see directly at the sun when it is tinted. All right, so it does a really good job of keeping that sun out of there. All right, so I'm gonna meet you guys in the front seat now. All right, as Ben mentioned, and shameless plug to your channel, Ben, go ahead and do a shout out for your channel real quick.
Yeah, so I'm Ben. I run the Jeebs YouTube channel, also known as the Jeebs Organization. So it's nice meeting Kirk here, another fellow enthusiast. I actually like Japanese cars as well, but my audience, they don't want to hear that. So I stick to Tesla, and I just keep my mouth shut. So yeah, nice to see everyone.
You were mentioning as well that, hey, we have these nice perforated seats, but they are not ventilated. That's kind of a miss. Maybe Nissan's saving, right? Because you have the heated seat button here, right? And this touch capacitive panel. You know, it's interesting. It would have been nice. Now, they didn't, no ventilated seats, but they pumped speakers into the headrest. So it's just like, where they decide to put their money, it's interesting. Some people might really like this. It is a good feature to have speakers in your headrest. So for you audio freaks out there, but we're gonna get inside the car now and talk about the interior here. And I'm a big fan of Nissan interiors for the most part. All right, I recently drove a Murano. This is actually better setup than the Murano. So if you want to pan the camera around, let's talk about the touch capacitive panel here. It's actually also better than the Aria, because the Aria's panel is actually a little bit lower and the buttons disappear when you turn the car off. When I turn this car off, all right, at least they're still there to my recollection. All right, I don't think they ever disappear. I haven't noticed them disappear like they do in the Aria or the Murano, for example. All right, and I like the traditional start button. I don't have anything weird or finicky going on when, you know, you're hoping the car turns on when you walk up with the key fob or something. All right, it's just like it feels like a normal car that's just electric driven. All right, so there's no learning curve here. I have a volume knob. I don't have to flick around with my hand on a screen, okay? I have fan control, all right? And it is haptic feedback, so I do feel a little bit of vibration. I do hear auditory feedback too, and I can see the visual feedback here as well on the screen, all right, for fan control. Or you can just set it to auto and forget about it and then set your temperature, all right? You can still do it through the screen this way, and the only way for you to turn on this, I take it back. I thought the only way to turn on the heated steering wheel was through the touchscreen, but no, there's actually a dedicated button over here. I'm gonna take this real quick. We have AC power accessory here, your head-up display, which is fantastic. Your heated steering wheel, just one setting. Auto brake hold is over here, and steering assist, as well as your hatch button. Yeah, keys in here. If you guys want to see the key, as I'm fumbling around, pretty basic key. Nothing. It just looks like a Nissan key. And there's no foam or felt in there to deaden the stuff from rattling around, but that's not hard to fix on your own. All right, little credit card holder or something. All right, now we have a wireless charger here. This has been good. Drive select, pretty simple, right? I don't have to worry about like sometimes some of the manufacturers have it on here. It's like a BMW or Mercedes have it on this area. I like this. I like where my drive select is here. E-step is Not one pedal braking or one pedal driving, but it is one of 5 different regen levels here. All right, and you also have different driving modes. So look, you don't have to swipe through a screen to get to a different driving mode. I like that, that I can just play with it there. For example, if I put it into drive, it should push, brake, and was I just oh, it's just an accessory mode. Whoops, or did I turn it off? No, I'm good now. Okay, so if I use a little switch here, let's go and dismiss. Personal, okay, so if you include personal, you have 4 different driving modes. And in personal, and by the way, the car will remember your regen braking from the last time you're in the car, which is a nice feature. A huge fan of the steering wheel. Now, I do have paddle shifters, which I think is only on the mid and upper grade, and you can adjust your regen braking through here. Otherwise, on the other models, you have to go through the touchscreen. I have 2 14-inch touchscreens here, which is pretty high end. You get an $100,000 Infiniti QX80, and that's the exact same screen setup as we have here. All right, this one's very familiar. This is a little bit new because on the mid and upper grade, they come with Google built-in, which is pretty new for Nissan, and Infiniti for that matter. And we also have, for example, if I get out of here, if I were to put in an address here, it'll tell me what the battery percentage is going to be when I arrive. Ben's used to this on his Teslas and stuff. All right, so that's pretty cool, and it'll precondition the battery if we need to stop and charge somewhere along the way. This isn't built in, but I like how Nissan keeps these shortcuts here for their base software to get in and out of. And look, they have a little icon here to show you what's going on with the EV, your climate schedule, which is nice to have that in conjunction with your charging schedule, I would say. All right, battery cooling assist. Okay, of course you'd want that. Battery heater. Now this is an optional thing. I believe it's what, a $300 option to have this battery heater, but it does have a heating pump regardless. So the battery heater is in addition to. All right, so if you live in California, probably not going to need it in most parts. You're in Arizona, you're not going to need it for the most part. I live in Florida, absolutely not. It's hot as hell all the time there. Energy usage, that's pretty cool. This is pretty geeky stuff to see your real-time energy usage. Oh yeah, here we go. Charging stations, plug-in reminder, average or amperage limit. Okay, so that's good for level 2 charging, right?
Yeah, some people at home, if it's hot, like in Arizona, my garage gets really hot.
Yeah.
So I'll derate it so it doesn't overheat.
Okay.
So that can be useful.
That's pretty useful as well for battery longevity, right? Yeah. You just keep swiping. So if I wanted to swipe over again, let's say I was using Android Auto, which is not going to calculate the battery percentage when you arrive somewhere, for example, or your Apple CarPlay, it's not going to do that. You have to use the built-in stuff, all right? But you can override and you can do the temperature or the preconditioning to get the battery to the right sort of temperature. Ambient lighting is actually standard on this vehicle, but if you want the customizable ambient lighting, you have to go for this Platinum Plus trim. Back down here, so there's a ton of space down here by our feet. Nissan, like there's no frunk. They shoved everything into the tiny trunk area, or the front trunk area, or the traditional hood area. And so we just have a ton of legroom and open space down here, just like we had a flat floor in the back. Little phone holder here and 2 cup holders, which are in a really nice spot. Wireless charger here, a couple of USB-Cs, which are of course data, and then like we mentioned in there. But yeah, I'm ready to start driving the Nissan Leaf. All right, Ben, we're gonna do a 0 to 60 here in the sporty Nissan Leaf. Front wheel drive.
Any launch control?
No. Maybe I don't know if you traction control. I don't think.
Yeah.
All right, what is your 0 to 60 estimate here?
I think we're gonna do 6.3.
Ooh, I think that's brisk. I think it's gonna be like 6.8. Now we might be going slightly downhill here, so there's a lot of factors out of our control.
That could offset me being in here.
Yeah, we're
171.
Okay, I'm about 190, something like that. 3, 2, 1. It didn't want to give us the full beans right off the get-go. 7.03, slight downhill. It was actually flatter than I thought it was going to be. So 7.03 0 to 60 and 7.47. The motor, I think, has capacity to do faster, but Nissan did like the Aria treatment here. They don't like giving you the full brunt of instant torque and acceleration that you can get from an electric motor. You know, it seems like they're too scared to maybe potentially upset gas car owners, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because everything about this, they try to make it a seamless experience for ICE owners. The controls, which I love the controls, don't get me wrong. And even the charging aspects that they focused on ICE owners. Do you want to hold this? I don't know what to do with it. So yeah, it just didn't. Did you get that sensation too? When I hit it, it didn't give us the full.
It's not giving us a hit.
Yeah.
And they're squeezing more efficiency out of the car.
Yes, that's a good point.
That's what they're doing.
And it's better for your tires long term.
Way better. You're gonna. One thing people think you shred tires on EVs because they're heavy. It's more because there's torque.
That's right.
And constant torque when you don't even expect it.
That's right. Yep, that is true. All right. So we've driven this for a couple hours at this point. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what it's like to drive. Ride quality, again, these are the 19-inch wheels, but I'm really happy with the ride quality in here. It blends sportiness, so a little bit firm, but you also, there's not a lot of harshness going on. It does a great job dampening the imperfections in the road. So what I call it luxury quality, it's fairly close, actually. It's pretty close. Now, Ben owns Model 3 Performance, right?
Yes.
How would you say it compares to that in terms of ride quality? And you have a Model Y as well.
I do. So this is closer to the Model Y, comfort-wise, in terms of rebound. This does a really nice job with suspension. I love how this feels. Model 3 Performance is a little different because it's a sport suspension. It is adaptable though, so in normal mode it's comfortable.
I see.
And then the damping really tightens up if you put it into sport mode. But this is similar to the new 26 Model Y Juniper. You know, you hit those big bumps, it eats them up, and you're pretty soft. So
good, you're good. But this car costs a lot less than a Model Y.
Yes, yeah. Model Y is, I think it's 44.9 is where it starts, or 46, somewhere in there. Much bigger.
Model Y doesn't give you a screen or a head-up display, right?
No, there's no head-up display. A lot of people would love to have a head-up display, but Tesla is set on this is your infotainment. Right? It's a cult. Shut up. This is your screen.
And you know, you also, before you got into EVs, you're a traditional car guy as well.
Yes.
So do you like something like a volume knob?
I do. I like having a volume knob. In terms of talking about Tesla, though, there's this thing on the wheel. It's a scroll wheel, and I turn it up.
That's nice.
So that's very straightforward and simple.
It's better than this.
Yeah.
On the steering wheel, but at least I have.
You need a knob. Yeah, every car should have a volume knob.
At the very least, a scroll wheel.
Yes.
But a volume knob, like I just got out of the new Corolla FX.
Okay.
And the FX, they made the screen bigger, but they took away the volume knob.
Oh, geez.
And so I'm just sitting here pumping away the volume button up and down. It's unacceptable.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, like any EV, if I just punch it, it
that.
goes, man.
See, and that's what I love. Like, you could get this or a Nissan Sentra. They can be around the right price. The electric drivetrain, that rips.
It just rips.
And there's no drama.
Yeah.
There's no.
No. There's no noise. Instant power, instant torque. There's nothing better for commuting in a town than an electric car.
Yes.
Okay. Overall quietness. Now, I don't think there's any acoustic glass in here, and only my driver's side window is automatic up and down. The rest of them you have to hold it, which is just crazy. Like a base Corolla has auto windows, so that's crazy to me. But it is really quiet in here. Like, I would say luxury acceptance of quiet. Now, how does it compare to your Teslas, for example, in terms of NVH and that sort of regard?
I would say the Tesla might be slightly quieter. They have 360 acoustic glass on all the windows. On the previous generations, the 23 and older Teslas, they were pretty loud. But these new ones are very quiet. But overall, this noise doesn't seem to be a complaint of mine in this so far. We're having conversations, no issue on the highway.
Even when we were doing 70, we had no issues having a conversation. Yeah. We didn't have to raise our voices at all.
The front feels very plush. I really like it.
It's really nice up here and intuitive.
Yes.
And the seats, we haven't talked about the seat comfort.
Yeah.
Nissan zero gravity seats are fantastic.
Yes.
These are the tailor fit, which is a new thing for Nissan. It's like their softer better for the environment. It lasts longer compared to leather, but no ventilation here. And then a weird spot, so it is perforated for most of your back and your thighs, but at the tip of your seat, it turns back to like that vinyl. And then as the very edges of your thighs are going to get a little sweaty. So overall, the seats are pretty good, especially on the comfort end. All right, but again, we're just, I also wouldn't mind like cloth seats, because cloth breathe really, really well. They last a long time. But yeah, it is fine. It is what it is.
They feel durable and quality.
Yeah. Handling. Well, I haven't been pushing it too hard, to be honest, but I don't have any issues with the steering feel in here. Like, I'm always surprised how Nissans handle, and that's even true on their electric cars. So like, if you throw an Aria into a turn, you're like, oh shoot, it can actually do this and do it quite well. And that's the thing with this Leaf. It even weighs less. Like, I'll push it a little bit while accelerating through. Like, I'm not on that like a hairpin or anything, but getting into the brakes. The brake control's really nice in here. Nice regen as you approach the turn. And
yeah, you could even hit the regen as you're coming in.
Yeah, and we did that going down the mountain earlier, as we hit that regen. And so it's just, that built-in engine braking is just a thing of beauty in something like an EV like this. Some people are going to be upset with the lack of one-pedal driving. I know that's actually, that is a staple for Teslas, right? Yeah. Like, you just have like, what, 2 settings of regen on those things?
Yeah, they've actually, and they've even changed it. It's like on the Model 3 Performance, you can put it in track mode and take it all the way down to 0. But in standard driving, a lot of times now, it's just one. It is 2 settings. There's high and low.
Okay.
But they're the best at making it seamless from like the clutch disengagement to the car being stopped. They're very good at that.
Yeah, so like, that's one of the things here. Like, it does have a little bit, when you bring this vehicle to stop, which obviously we're not doing now, but in stop and go traffic, the last like foot or so has a bit of that awkwardness that the Aria has, and it kind of like teeters back and forth as you bring it to a stop. So it still kind of has the awkwardness. I need to test it more, a week long of driving to see if I can mitigate it a little bit with my inputs, but it still seems to have it. When, of course, you're using the brake pedal. And unlike a Tesla, the brake pedal here will actually do regen braking, unless Teslas have changed that.
Oh, really? So this does regen, part of the,
Yeah,
oh,
so I
cool.
can be in 0 regen.
Uh-huh.
All right, and I get into the brake here and you see a regen.
Ah, look at that. That's
right?
nice.
Tesla is the only one that I know of that doesn't tie the brake to the regen.
They do it now a little bit.
They do a little bit?
They have changed it, so a little bit of your travel, I think it's at lower speeds, where your braking is actually regen.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, so you can have no regen selected here, or 1. I'm on 1, which is, I think, the lowest, or it's the lowest setting. And your brake pedal still does the same work as it would if you were in E-step, except I'm controlling it directly, which I really like. That's how Toyota hybrids are. That's actually how all hybrids are.
Yeah. Porsche does that.
Yeah, Porsche does. Everyone besides Tesla has regen braking throughout the travel of the brake pedal.
I don't know what the right answer is. I wish I could study them side by side. But I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. I would assume it would be easier to engineer.
Yeah.
A no regen through the brake pedal. But I don't know. Most people don't care.
We'll leave it to the comments.
Yeah. I've been roasted when I've reviewed other EVs. They're like, "Why are you taking regen braking off? Like, you're gonna destroy your brakes." I'm like, no, the brake pedal works as the regen brake if you don't have the software enabled.
Yes.
So it's just all cars are a little different. You got to educate yourselves.
Yep.
But yeah, the handling's really good in here. Honestly, there's hardly any body roll going on. How I'm pushing it. Right? If you take it to a track, it might be different. But I'm stuck behind a bunch of pickups.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Ben, do you want to say any? Besides the back seat, I know we both agree it's pretty small.
A little tight.
It's for kids, and probably not rear-facing seats.
Yeah. I mean, there's room,
Yeah, there's
But-
room.
So like if
Yeah,
you had to move it up.
Assuming you're my wife and you're like 5'5" or shorter.
Yeah, my wife's 6 feet tall.
Okay, my wife's 5'2".
Yeah, so
Yeah.
she could fit in here no problem. Yeah. Yeah, okay, so as far as what I want to say about the car, yeah, really my only complaint with it is the back seat space. I love the redesign.
Yeah.
It was a true redesign. It looks good.
Yeah.
You know, electrochromatic glass. They have
Yeah.
luxury features in here
Oh yeah.
that some $100,000 cars don't have.
Head-up display.
Head-up display.
Huge screen.
Nice infotainment that
Yeah.
you'd actually want to use. Weird misses again, like cooled seats. I feel like that
That's
might
a
come
miss.
on a later model. But
Yeah, maybe a refresh or something. Cooled seats.
Yeah.
I know you. In your experience on EVs, you like having a frunk, but like I don't care about a frunk. I just throw most of my stuff in the back seat or the cargo in the very back.
yeah, and
Right.
I will say, like, honestly, I don't use it that much. It's for road trips where I can stuff the car full.
Sure.
You know, the Model Y and 3 have drain plugs, so you could throw ice in them.
Right, yeah.
But again, this is an idea you're selling to people that marketing shows you with chicken wings and beer, and you're at the game, and you're never going to do that, right?
Right.
You're just going to
Right.
work and whatever. So I just like efficient use of space. Lucid does a really good job of that. Like Lucid, for example, has the same amount of space on the interior as an S-Class, but it's a foot shorter.
Yeah.
So I really like EV packaging because you don't have to stuff a big engine up front,
Yeah.
and you have all that space. So kind of a disappointment, but like I said, I don't use it that much. It's
Sure.
just a nice thing to have.
Sure. You know, I think they nailed the features in here. They nailed the price. Okay.
Yes, we need to target. Yeah.
About $30,000 for 300 miles of range. Nobody's coming close to that.
Nope.
Okay, so they don't need the EV tax credit. It's going away anyways, and they don't need it. All right, you have a luxury spec in this Platinum. They're expecting the SV to be the volume spec, but we'll see. Time will tell. Now that you don't need EV tax credit, I don't know, $35,000 if that's going to be the volume spec. Time will tell.
Yeah.
But you have two base specs, and for most people just commuting, like we ran into a guy in a 2013 Leaf this morning when we were leaving San Diego, and he's got like 60 miles of range left in his 2013. He's still driving that thing, and now we have this, like the entry level spec now has, well, we don't know the range on it, but I can extrapolate 52 kilowatts times, let's say 4 miles per kilowatt hour in town.
Yeah.
You're getting 200 miles of range versus 100 what the Leaf started on, and it's way cheaper than what it used to be.
Right. The fact that it started at $32,000 in 2011 and now it's $29,900.
And that's for the S grade. That's S plus. The S non plus is going to be like 26.3 or something.
Yeah, so that's huge. So
Yeah.
at that price point, I don't really have any complaints.
That's right.
Because this is what everyone's been asking for. EVs
Yeah.
are too much, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, here it is. And
Yeah.
it's like the best commuter. Your cost per mile is
Dude.
like 3 cents or cheaper, depending on what
Cheap.
your house rate is. It's excellent, and there's no oil changes. There's
Nope.
no. I mean, it's a no-brainer. And people talk about depreciation with Teslas and other, or like Mercedes electric vehicles. They just drop like bombs. But
For
this
sure.
costs so little initially. It's not going to fall.
I
that
don't
much.
think it's going to drop that much.
Nope.
Yeah, not like a luxury EV.
No.
Yeah. So in terms of investment, it's a decent investment, especially if you're putting a ton of miles on and the range works for you.
What's the warranty?
No, hardly 3 years, 36 is typically Nissan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's not great. But with the battery
But
warranty,
the battery warranty is probably completely different. That's
yes,
just
that
bumper to
should
bumper.
that should be like 8 years, 100,000 miles minimum.
Yeah, Toyota does that for their
This is
hybrids and EVs.
pre-production, so I don't think it's even on here.
But we can look into
Yeah.
it. Even the base, so here's the thing. The S grade has two 12-inch screens for $30K, has 300 miles of range. It has the same performance of this car, except better efficiency, actually, because of the smaller wheels on it.
Mhm, yep.
Like, they're going to do really well here. Can they convert? Here's the problem. Will they be able to convert Tesla drivers whose lease is ending?
Yeah.
That's going to be a tough switchover. I think Nissan's hoping that this is going to be a first-time EV
Yes.
sort of conquest sort of vehicle.
Yeah.
or bringing people over from an Aria or an old Leaf or a Rogue or something.
Yeah, I think they've done a really nice job of not trying to reinvent the wheel. They gave it all these traditional features. We have a start button. We have you have some buttons here. You don't have to fully rely on the screen. And I think this is more going to be either an earlier Leaf owner or a first-time EV buyer.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's going to be popular. I know a lot of people who, my neighbor, for example, owns like, diesel trucks and all this stuff. I didn't think he liked EVs at all. And he was like, yeah, once we, get this car paid off, we're going to look at an EV.
Cool.
I think that's the sentiment with a lot of people because they make sense for commuting. One car an EV, one car gas or hybrid, I think is the way to go right now.
With the current, it doesn't charge that fast. No EV charges fast enough, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Unless
you're in China.
Unless we get to 5 minutes, right? 5-minute charging, like that's the holy grail. But we're just nowhere close to that.
No.
So this vehicle, and that's when the base S grade at 200 miles of range is still going to be more than enough for most people's daily needs. Right? The average person drives 40, 50 miles a day or whatever.
The other thing that needs to happen is standardization on charging. It's good they have NACS now. That is good because the Tesla network...
It's future-proof now.
Yes, now it's very reliable. That's good. But there are some Tesla chargers that are 150s that have NACS that may pop up. There's still, if you go to a gas station, you just pull it out and put it in, and you don't have to really think about it. Just some octane. So there needs to be still some simplification on that end.
Well, and... There is new charging networks coming out like Iona. I don't know if Nissan's a part of it. I'll double check. I know Toyota, Hyundai, Kia, Honda, Mercedes, BMW, a lot are involved with Iona. That is going to move the needle, all right, if they keep investing in it. But that's the goal. That's what they all want. And in the meantime, this is still this is one of the most interesting EVs on the market right now. All right, most EVs coming out are still pretty expensive, 40, 50, 60K. And, the idea of EVs when the Leaf came out was an affordable car to own for the masses that required little to no maintenance, and you didn't have to burn any gas, right? A very eco-conscious vehicle. That ethos is still here. It's affordable. Low barrier of entry, there's no learning curve in this vehicle, I would say, to an extent, right? Mm-hmm. People still have to plug it in. You plug in your phone every day. It's not that much different than that. It's gonna be a really good vehicle for them. And Nissan's kind of cooking right now. They're building new body on frame vehicles down in Camp Mississippi soon. I just drove the Z earlier this year. We talked about how much we love the Armada.
Love the Z.
Nissan Frontier is a fantastic vehicle. Ultima's you're probably gonna get canceled soon. They're redesigning the Sentra. Next year they're redesigning the Rogue with a hybrid. So they're starting to really build momentum. And Nissan calls this Leaf one of its heartbeat vehicles, a part of its core, like the Z, like the Patrol. Look at these cool cars right here. That's neat. Anyways, and the Leaf. These are the heartbeat models, the ones that kind of move the soul a little bit for the brand. All right, and they've hit it out of the park.
Yeah. No
car's perfect. This one's pretty perfect for an EV in today's market. Affordable, good range, good tech, looks good, it's efficient. What else are you looking for unless you need a family vehicle? This is not it.
Yeah.
This is definitely not it. This is, but most people know that.
Yeah.
Nissan Leaf has never been focused as a family vehicle.
No.
So we're going to end it there. If you guys want to watch my most recent, this is something Ben does at his channel.
Here we go.
If you guys want to watch my most recent video, that is kind of a competitor to this car. That is the Prius plug-in, which costs about the same as this. A little over $40,000 for the Prius plug-in. And there are definitely some comparisons that can be made. All right, I kind of see the Leaf as what the Prius could be if Toyota wanted to go that route, but the Prius is still the king of hybrids to an extent. All right, pushing that plug-in hybrid boundary a little bit with the PHEV. But make sure to check out that video as well as other videos on the channel, and we'll catch you in the next one. Special thanks to Ben and Jeebs, and check out his channel. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.